Hello everybody. Yesterday we discussed about what parallelism and concurrency is, and since I got record breaking views, I have decided to continue this series. So today we will discuss about what threads and processes are. And trust me, this video is so important for the upcoming video, so don't skip it. And I will give you enough analogy so that this topic is clear to you. Now, before moving ahead, I would like to touch upon what CPU is. CPU is like the brain of your computer. Just like we humans have brain that helps us in almost every task that we do throughout the day. Same way, whatever you do in your system, CPU plays a very important role in it. It's like the brain of your computer. And if we just look at the architecture of CPU, let's say this is our CPU, then within CPU there are cores. For example, this is core 1, this is core 2, this is core 3, this is core 4. Now these cores are like the mini CPUs. Within CPUs there are mini CPUs which are cores. Now these mini CPUs act like CPUs, but since we have multiple cores, then the benefit is that, let's say there are multiple processes happening on our system, and whatever task you do, it's not like you are just doing one single task on your system. Behind the scene there can be multiple tasks happening, right? And since I'm writing on this whiteboard, it's not like I'm just writing on this whiteboard. At the back end there can be multiple things happening, right? So same way there can be multiple processes happening at the same time. If one process has to wait for another process to complete, then that would make our system so slow. So what these cores helps us, that as much as we have cores, we can run the processes parallelly. So let's say we have where there are 4 cores, then 4 tasks can happen parallelly. We don't have to wait for one to complete and then moving on to the next one. 4 tasks can happen parallelly. So that's the benefit of having multiple cores in our CPU, right? Now coming back to our topic of process and threads. Process is like a one single big task, right? Now within that task there can be multiple sub processes. For example, since I let's say CPU is like your toy factory. Now within toy factory, one single big task can be to prepare a toy car. To prepare a toy car. Now within this big task there can be multiple subtasks, right? Like painting the toy car, fixing the screws, etc., right? Now these cores are like independent workers in the factory. I told you that our CPU is the toy factory, then these cores can be considered as independent workers. For example, this is worker 1, this is worker 2, this is worker 3, and we have worker 4, right? So one worker can do one task of repairing a toy car. So when I say that tasks can happen parallelly in when you have multiple cores, that would mean that at a time this factory can prepare 4 toy cars. Since there are 4 workers involved, so they can simultaneously work on 4 independent toy cars and they can prepare it. So preparing a toy car is a process, one single big task that you want to achieve. Now within that one single big task, the smallest executable sub-process is called thread. So this is your thread 1, this is your thread 2, etc. There can be multiple threads, right? Now if I just take one single core and then I just zoom in, so here is our worker sitting on its desk. Then this worker, if you see, he just have two hands, just like any other human. Now this worker at a time can only either paint the car or fix the screws, right? So let's say this is my thread 1, this is my thread 2, and the process is to prepare the car, to prepare the toy car, right? So this is my thread 1, this is my thread 2. Now I told you that these processes can happen parallelly, but these threads can only be executed concurrently. And why do I say that? Because you see, as human he just have two hands. At a time, either he can paint the car or he can fix the screws. But when he has painted the car, he has to wait, right? At that time, he can switch to another task and he can fix the screws. Let's say he painted the upper area of the car and tires are left. At that time, he's waiting for the paint to dry up. So at that time, since he is waiting on thread 1, he can switch to thread 2 and fix the screws in the lower part, right? Maybe he can fix the tires properly, he can tighten the screws that are there in the tire, right? So these threads can only be executed concurrently. That is, that this worker can switch between threads only when he has to wait in a particular thread, or if the thread has completed. So this is what thread and processes are. I hope the difference is clear.